When I turned 18, my parents sold our house. Not to move, not to downsize, but to travel the world. They told me I was an adult now, and it was time to live on my own. What they really meant was, we're done being parents. I always knew I wasn't a wanted child. They never hit me, but they also never hugged me. We lived in the same house, but it felt like a boarding school. Cold, polite, and painfully distant. My dad was a pediatrician. My mom taught science at a middle school. Funny, right? They worked with kids all day. Just not their own. By high school, we barely spoke. We'd pass each other in the kitchen, silent strangers under the same roof. When I tried to talk, they made me feel like an interruption. On my 18th birthday, they sat me down. No cake, no gift, just words that felt like a door slamming shut. "We've supported you long enough," my mother said. "You're an adult now. Time to stand on your own feet." 2 weeks later, they told me they were selling the house. They said they wanted to quit their jobs and drive across the country. "We've worked our whole lives for this," my dad said. "You'll be fine, you have a job now." I had just started working at a grocery store. No savings, no backup plan, no relatives willing to help. When I begged them to wait a few months, my mom laughed and said, "You're not our responsibility anymore." Those words burned into me. I still remember the tone, cold, almost relieved. A week later, the house was gone. And so were they. I stayed at a friend's couch for a few days. Then crashed in my car for almost a week. Eventually, I called a coworker, a girl from the cosmetics aisle named Lily. We talked a few times, joked about customers, shared lunches. When I told her what happened, she didn't hesitate. "Come stay with me," she said. Her apartment was tiny, barely big enough for one person. But she gave me the couch, no questions asked. She saved me. I'll never forget that. Over time, we grew close. Two people with broken families finding comfort in each other. We dated, moved in together, and eventually got married. I worked my way up to shift supervisor. She went to cosmetology school. For the first time in my life, I felt stable. 5 years later, someone knocked on our apartment door. When I opened it, I froze. It was my mother. She looked older, tired, carrying 2 heavy suitcases. Before I could say anything, she threw her arms around me. I didn't hug her back. "Your father left me," she said. "I have nowhere else to go." She started crying, explaining that after years of traveling, they'd settled in California. Dad had cheated on her with a waitress, moved in with the woman, and cut her off financially. Now she was broke, jobless, and homeless. And she wanted to live with me. I almost laughed. I looked her in the eyes and said, "You told me once I was an adult, that I should take care of myself. Well, now it's your turn." She looked shocked, like she didn't expect me to remember. But I remembered every word. "This is my home," I said. "And I can do whatever I want with it. Just like you did." Then I smiled, gently, and closed the door in her face. I could still hear her crying in the hallway as I locked the door. And for the first time in years, I felt free. My wife didn't say anything at first. Later that night, she asked if I'd gone too far. She thought maybe I should have let my mother explain. But I didn't need to hear more. Where was she when I was sleeping in my car? Where was she when I had nothing? They abandoned me. And only came back when they needed something. After I told my wife everything. Every cruel word, every empty dinner table, every cold look. She understood. She apologized for judging me. Still, the moment left a scar between us. A quiet tension that took weeks to fade. But my mother didn't disappear. She started stalking me on social media, creating fake profiles, tagging me and my wife, posting about how her ungrateful son abandoned her, just like his father did. She even came to the store where I worked, standing in the aisles for hours, watching me like a ghost from the past. I ignored her. Didn't say a word. Eventually, she stopped showing up. For a while, I thought it was over. I was wrong. One evening, she waited by my car. Her eyes were swollen, her voice cracked. For the first time, she looked human. She told me she'd been living in cheap motels, borrowing money from old friends who no longer trusted her. She had nothing. I let her sit in my car. She cried uncontrollably, saying she just wanted to feel safe again. I gave her a small envelope. $200. That's all I can do, I said. I hope you find peace. She stared at the money, then threw it back at me. You're heartless, she screamed. Just like your father. She slammed the door and walked away. I didn't chase her. Months passed. I didn't hear from her again. Until one day, a cousin mentioned something at a wedding. My parents were back together. Apparently, after her failed fresh start. My mom ran back to my dad. And somehow, they reunited. When I heard that, I laughed. Because of course they did. They're perfect for each other. Two people who only love when it's convenient. Sometimes, people ask if I regret shutting her out. I don't. Forgiveness isn't about letting someone back in. It's about not letting their poison control you anymore. I wish her well. I don't hate her. But I'll never let her hurt me again. Because family isn't blood. It's who stays when everyone else leaves. And for me, that's my wife. They sold the house that built me. But I built a home they'll never touch again.